Okay, thank you, TV. All set, thank you. Welcome to the full council or meeting of Hexham Town Council here at Prior Hall, Hexham Abbey on Monday, 8th of June at 5:30. Welcomed by me, I'm Derek Kennedy, I'm the chair of the meeting and the town's mayor. We will, nobody from the public here, but if they do come, we'll invite them to speak if they come a little bit late. Apologies for absence, number 3.
Nigel, Simon and Phil.
Okay. Any others? No. Any disclosures of interest? No. Any dispensations? Okay, so we now turn to number 6, which is the minutes of the last meeting of the full council on Monday, 18th of May 2026. If we go through that, that's page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. Everybody content?
I think I was present at that meeting.
We've got an automated list on it, but I've added it to it.
Recurring.
So that's why it's been recurring, but you were added on. It wasn't, it's no reflection on you.
Absolutely.
So is this the annual meeting or the town council meeting minutes?
The full council.
Well, it's both.
Yeah, full council, and which within that was the AGM. Can I permission to sign, please? Good. Right, excellent. Number 7, to approve the annual statement of accounts, governance statement and internal audit report. Actually hand over to Clark.
So the auditor is, we have an internal auditor who's actually external. Another quirk of town councils. So the internal auditor has been through our documents and accounts, and we've passed all the internal control objectives, which the document is that one there. It's on the next page after the end of your last minutes. So he's been through each section and we've passed the requirement. However, there is a report there, and if we go to page 3 of the report, there's over the following pages there's a number of recommendations that he suggests that we should take on board for future audits. So they'll be considered at the next F&GP meeting. There's nothing there that means that we don't meet the requirements of the objective, but there's things that we could do to strengthen our position from a governance or financial accountability perspective. So those are all there for you to consider at your leisure. It brings us to the end of, after the end of the report, there's two pages that look like that. Yeah. So section 1 is the annual government statement, section 2 the accounting statements. Section 1, it's for you all to agree for those statements 1 to 10. And good practice is that you or I read those out so that everybody can confirm.
Do that. Yeah, good. Okay, so number 1, we have put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of accounting statements. 2, we maintain an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness. 3, we have assured ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws, regulations and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business to manage its finances.
Somebody else is.
We provide proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the Accounts and Audit Regulation.
Agreed.
5, we carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage the risks, including the introduction of internal controls and/or external assurance cover where required.
Agreed.
Right. Number 6, we maintain throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal audit of the accounting records and control systems.
Agreed.
7, we took appropriate action on all matters raised in reports from internal and external audit.
Agreed.
8, we consider whether any litigation, liabilities or commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on the authority and where appropriate have included them in the accounting statements.
Agreed.
Right. I'll do number 10 and I'll go back to number 9. Number 10, we have put in place arrangements for the effective IT and data management in accordance with proper practices during the year under review. Okay. So I do have to read number 9 out?
You don't need to read number 9 out, it's not to.
No. Okay.
So if we're all in agreement with that, then we need to sign.
Permission to sign, everybody?
Yes.
Thank you.
The accounting statements. These are just figures that have been used from the end of year, figures that you already received at the end of March. So these are standard figures that all the different town and parish councils throughout the country use. It's a fairly simple balances brought forward. What we have on for our precept, any money that we take in from any other source, what our staffing costs are, any loan repayments, Any other payments were paid as an authority. Our balance is carried forward. The value of short-term cash and short-term investments. Our total fixed assets plus long-term investments and our total borrowings.
And that should be made clear that that is at the end of 31st of March of 2025 and 2026.
That's a
Yeah,
good question.
Yeah, it's
The balance is carried forward and our cash investment is considerably higher than it was the previous year. Is that just an accident of time?
No, it was in preparation for us doing the play park more than anything else.
So the approximately 210,000 play park invoice will come this year. The second one is about fixed assets. We've got them in at 1.64 million.
Yeah.
How much of that is like buildings, and what percentage do we allow for depreciation?
It's nearly all buildings, and as a council we don't allow for depreciation.
So the value of those buildings is the same approximately every year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the way we have to record things is at what value on at the time of purchase, and we don't depreciate until it comes off our asset list. So we can depreciate for our own internal kind of considering that we need to replace things, but in terms of the accounting statement, it's just as a profit.
I understand that, but in real terms, if you looked at the buildings we've got, it's not like 1.6 million.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Any questions? Any further questions? Good. Yeah. We need to, so that needs seconds also.
Let's just sign.
This one.
That's it.
Very good. Number 8 is to approve council financial risk register.
This is just a reconsidered version of the one we had from last year. There's no material change from last year in terms of where we stand financial risk wise, but it's something we need to consider each year. So it's essentially a reiteration of what we considered last year.
Any questions from anybody? Are we content?
It's 6 o'clock.
Okay, everybody content with that? We now move on to number 9, which is to receive an update on potential development science. So the first one is the Hexham Middle School. Anybody wish to offer any update on that since last month?
Well, we've got a discussion about it at the end of the meeting, haven't we? Yeah, but Andrew, has it gone to tender?
I haven't seen it as of yet. I haven't checked today. I've checked on Friday.
Because it was meant to go last week to tender. So
Yeah, we'll need to take some of the detail of that, won't we, to...
Actually, can I just take this opportunity to ask you and Derek as county council, but you might not know the answer to this. I felt foul at one point of the county council tendering process because I wasn't on a list of preferred providers. So nobody notified me that tenders were going out. So are they actually in the public domain, or does the county council just write to people, developers or whoever it is that they want, that are on their list, already registered on their list?
I don't know, I wouldn't know the answer to that.
Or
Because that might explain why we can't find it, but they might have gone to tender, within the system.
So, actually no, if I remember through my government days, as the journal of the European Union, where you had to put anything of a substantial figure had to go through that journal, so anybody within the compound of Europe could actually make an application, and that was the way of broadcasting big large sums.
But we won't be part of that in the wrong.
I don't know if we are.
Doubt it.
I don't know.
Considering our departure from Europe.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the word was that it was going out to tender, but I couldn't find it.
Well, where did we put our tender when we put it in for the Abbey Lights? Where does that not go to central government sites?
Yeah, it goes to public forum. I assume it's a bit similar process.
Yeah.
This is a bigger, obviously bigger.
And it's meant to be publicly available for anybody to bid.
Okay.
So we
Well,
should
that's
mention
an
that.
update, it's not an update then. Good.
Right, well, so we're going to come back to that one
Yes.
in time. Old bus station, any updates on that? Nothing to report on that one. And then toilets, anything like that? No. West Road, nothing to put that I'm aware of on that one. Police houses, work continues there. I keep having to pop over the fence, looking through the fence as opposed to climbing over. And the work seems to be continuing on the police houses, which is most of it.
Do we know what the completion date is? Is it really published?
But certainly there's work ongoing, including like re-roofing and etc. So that's pleasing to see. The Union Workhouse, any updates? Nothing on that. The Shambles, I did contact the county council about the car parking arrangements, because while this was all supposed to be finished last end of summer going into autumn, obviously it wasn't. They have completed their work on the Shambles building itself, which included some actually just remedial work only just a couple of weeks ago. I did chase up on what was happening to the car parking arrangements, because that was supposed to be changed for those to be parallel parked next to the Shambles buildings, and that hasn't happened as yet. And I was told that we're getting some supplies ready to do that work, and again it still hasn't been done. So I don't know how much work that requires, but it doesn't seem an awful lot to me. I'm staggered that it's still now in the summer of 2026 and it hasn't been done for a job that should have been done in 2025.
So do we know what impact that's going to have on the space while they're doing the work? Because they always manage to timetable things at our busiest time.
So the outcome will be that there'll be less car parking, because it's obviously will be parallel to the Shambles as opposed to the current arrangements, which are has caused so much damage to the Shambles with cars crashing into it and all sorts of stuff. I don't think it's a big job, really. I think it's just a job that once it gets once it gets to going, it should be done in a matter of a week or two, I would have thought. But we do have a Hexham hub.
Yes,
No.
we do.
So all these questions will be asked. Because they did try to attempt to arrange it today, but I pushed back and said it was town council day. So John?
Whilst you're at the Hexham hub,
Yes.
could you also bring up the old bus station, which it's just dragging on for year after year after year, and we've forgotten. It's such a blot on the High Street, and we were promised 2 years ago that, oh yes, very close, very, very close. Could you just bring it up again?
It was in pre-planning for a business and flats. That's the last bit Rob Murphy told me. And that was when we went to that meeting at County Hall. He seemed quite excited about it. I mean, the threat was that, you know, we served that 215 notice on them to clean it up, which they did. So that was last year, that was early last year, I think, or maybe it was the year before actually. So we could, you know, we're quite within our rights to do that again, which I'm, you know, happy to do, to push for, but actually, if it's going through pre-planning, it's just, you're right, John, it's just something that they just keep going, it's happening, and they get you all excited, and then nothing seems to be heard again, so we just have to prod at our next NCC meeting as well, but I'll certainly bring it up again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Good, John, thank you. Item I, the railway buildings and water tower, any update on that one? The West End
Cycle paths, you missed the cycle path.
So I did, yes, sorry about that. Yes, H, sorry, the cycle path, yeah.
So I've got two updates. One, you've probably seen that the sign's gone up to say that the A695, I think, is going to be closed for 12 months.
How long?
12 months. I presume that's going to be work on it. But I've only just seen the sign go up. I don't know any more details around that. And secondly, been productive on the Hexham to Hayden Bridge cycle path. We did a cycle with Joe Morris and his manager. We met with the landowner, and we're now looking to come up with some initial costs. So we're sort of progressing along that route. And there's an aside, apparently Tim Fish at NCC is quite excited about the Hayden Spa, which is Roger's project, and he wants to reinstate it even though the bank has fallen away, but I think that would be a slight, that actually will be on the route as well. So yeah, so things are, in my mind, on cycle path are progressing, but obviously the road being closed is going to cause some issues.
Hexham Spa, not so much my project, is it? Sorry, I've visited it once. Because the footpath's washed away on the Hayden Bridge side, and there isn't the one on the Hexham side. You can kind of scramble down to it, and it's like a sulphurous spring. And the Victorians, 1899 or something?
1897.
Was it?
Queen Victoria's.
A kind of pool, which is now full of leaves, but you could perhaps go in and, you know, paddle in it one time, but it would be quite nice to get it activated.
Where's
you know where the dead leg of the A69 is? Parallel with the 6 on the north side of the 69, about a quarter of a mile outside Hayden Bridge.
There used to be a sign for years, Hayden's been there.
So you can see a road parallel with the A69 on the north side. Yeah, and you sometimes get cars pulled in like dog walkers doing this short stretch.
It used to run down from Winnie's Well and then feed the hydro and the swimming pool that they once had at the Leases, and then it presumably
Well, I think it's slightly different.
straight.
Yeah, so these
There's
are
various
quite
wells though at that hill that kind of
Right.
come down and feed stuff. They're
Yeah.
quite historic, incredible. Wow. The cycle path though, yes, so the signs have gone up because the new bit is going to begin between, if I get this right, it's Corbridge Roundabout, because I haven't got internet so it's not bringing up the email. The Corbridge Roundabout and Hexham is the bit they're starting after the 22nd of June. It won't be closed obviously through the day, it'll be closed at 7 in the evening I think it is until late. It's not closed during the day. But to mitigate this, because the residents have emailed me already with worries about the bus routes, like you say, so we're going to try and, I've asked about that. There's going to be a drop-in at the Wentworth on the 19th of June for all residents, which I'll be sending out, putting on our comms and sending out on my email to my residents. So that's for everyone to come down and have those questions put to the team. Will be there again as a drop-in. So when I know the time of that at the Wentworth, I know the day, the 19th, Friday the 19th of June, I will circulate it so everyone knows, but she just got back to me today to say that that was the case. and they've been sort of smoothing over other bits of the cycle route that have been going on. So yes, the progress will start further down now from the Corbridge side and work its way up to Hexham, but it won't be closed all day for that long.
But it's looking good, the bits that finish is looking good.
Very good, yes. We're going down to have a photo with the NCC team this Friday because the red markings have all gone down, the new surfaces, and it looks pretty special really. It's about time we had some sexy infrastructure in Hexham, quite frankly. So there you go.
Very good. Okay, West End Methodist report in addition. The old Ross Beale site, any update on that one?
No, actually, I did see online the other day, I don't know if anyone else saw this, people on the roof there doing parkour, which looks incredible, but obviously very dangerous. It was posted at the weekend, did anyone else see that alert? So I presume that's been flagged up with the Northumbria Police.
Well, I did reply to the person who posted it on there saying, you know, while fantastic posted on Facebook, I do hope you have reported this to the police because this is trespass and hugely dangerous. And I was response saying yes, they had, and but I think it's certainly next time you speak to the police, you'll have to bring that up as well. But very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Seeing kids playing games. Very dangerous indeed.
But some good footage because actually you can see who they are. So, you know, hopefully the police will. They did have to secure the back of the site about a year ago. They were having similar problems summertime antisocial behaviour. So, presumably they're onto it. I'm glad it's been reported. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Abbey House, any update on that one? And Hexham Civic Space, any update on that?
It's all sent round the...
Yeah, sent around the sketch proposal, you could say, proposal.
Yeah.
And various councillors have read that, which is great.
Yeah.
Probably for discussion and everything.
Yeah. Good. Okay, thank you very much. Number 10, to determine council position on the lease of number 28 Community House.
Okay. Right.
Suzanne, you're going to bring the
Yes,
next one?
and so it was brought up at community engagement, and in principle it was agreed that we would consider and take to full council the taking on the lease of 28 Community House, which up until now was run by the Community Partnership and Carbon Homes. So it's been closed really since the beginning of this year, and it was used, and we've done a survey, the steering group of Mike, and we handed out surveys at school recently as well, which was fun, and the parents were keen on that, and Tom and Simon were kind of merrily sort of helping to steer this through. We all think that this is an amazing opportunity for the town. I mean, why it was let to kind of decline over the years just bemuses me greatly, because we've got people really keen to be in there. Some great local community organisations and local banking. So the idea is that we take on the lease, as HCP did, and Carbon have run the externals of the building and the maintenance. So there's a few things to sort of narrow down those few questions that came out of the community engagement meeting. One was about bills, so the running costs for utilities and internet have come back at about £2,092.18. So that's what HCP were paying in maintenance to run the building. And Carbon got back to me with the security of the site. So this is the assets team of Carbon Homes, Adam Harrison, the property surveyor, who we still have to sort of meet with to go through things if we take on the lease. So this would be in principle that we take it on pending no issues when we meet up. So Carbon have buildings insurance in place, and this would continue to cover rebuild, reinstalment costs of the building structure caused by major incidents like fires, floods, storms, etc. The town council will need their own contents insurance. Note that plate window glass is excluded, so this falls under town council responsibility for repair and maintenance or by your own insurance if you wish to take this out. Any damage to external doors, locks, windows by breaking would also be responsibility of TC to repair. Not that that's happened over the last few years. Maintenance. Carbon would only retain responsibility for the structure, the main roof, load-bearing structure, walls, foundations. Town council will be responsible for internal, external repairs and maintenance. Everything internal, i.e. everything internal for repairs and maintenance, including compliance, gas, electric, fire, safety. And plus gardens and boundaries and things, which the Lions and Hexham are quite keen to take care of, and presumably Career Hexham as well might get involved. So that's come back on carbon. We obviously have to have a meeting with them on site to go over these things, but in theory that's the questions answered from community engagement taking on the lease. The lease is for 5 years to ensure that, because no one would get involved with changes of council to set up stuff, but it's a 12-month rolling contract, so it's 12 months. After 12 months, if it's not working, we can walk away. After another 12 months, we can walk away. After another 12 months, we can walk away with 5 years total. So that is the kind of get out clause. But I mean, to start something up like this, and the will is there, the survey came back with some great ideas and results from the local community who do want it to continue in some form. So yeah, that's up to you now to decide whether, yes.
Yes, I was at the meeting and the community engagement, and it seemed quite clear that basically, no matter how many organisations are operating out of number 28, and I think it's really encouraging that lots of agencies are interested in actually operating in the east through number 28, that somebody needs to be a leaseholder, and that, you know, if there's 5 agencies in there, they don't want to privilege anybody in particular by making them the leaseholder anyway. That's complicated. But I just think we've got to think, I think we should do it, but I think we should be quite careful about what our liabilities are and how we cover them. So for example, it should be agreed with the organisations that they pay a pro rata amount towards the costs of the town council. You know, so if it's costing £2,000 for utilities, then they pay a proportion of that. So that we're actually liable technically, we're the leaseholders, but it's not costing us for day-to-day running, if possible. Not to make it impossible for people to work out of that, but basically to pay a contribution to the running of the building.
I can certainly put
Anybody else?
Good question. Subletting is always difficult, really difficult, and in the same way when we talked about the local businesses contributing £200 across the town, it's almost impossible really. If there was 5 organisations, and I speak for the community centre, would they pay £400 if there was 5, or would they just say, you know, what's the mechanism for doing it? So I think I'm agreeing with Penny, I think we want to do it, but there are dangers associated with it. And I keep coming back to this, and I've said it on a number of occasions. If the alarm bells go at 5:30 in the morning, who goes down to turn them off? And that's a big practical question. As a leaseholder, it would be us. And I think there should be some mechanism that mitigates that, whatever that is.
Yeah, we'll put your name down for that one.
I'm quoted in the paper quite often.
Well, obviously that's just around the corner from me, so I'll be quite happy to kind of take a call. They're few and far between, and I'm kind of on calls for other calls kind of anyway. But I was just calculating, I think it's about £40 a week just for the bills. Obviously we need to kind of get internal insurance, but I just think it's a fantastic opportunity. We've kind of been through number 28. There's lots of organisations that want to It's already a mansion that's already, you've got Hexham there. We had loads of organisations at the meeting, and I've got a project that I think I can do with it in terms of heating there. So I just think it's what the council's here for, to facilitate a place where other communities can use that, because they're essentially just looking after the contents and not the structure. I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I mean that meeting didn't even have all of the organisations there. We still had, there were still people who missed that meeting because they couldn't get to it. So, the will is there from the organisations. I think you're right. I think there has to be a kind of a buy-in from the organisations, a bit quid pro quo. But as far as I can see it, what the community organisations are offering us is almost payment enough. We are kind of, yes, where the kind of leaseholder, gatekeeper, as it were, and the steering group will take care of other issues, and hopefully it will start off, and once it's up and running, it will become apparent maybe what the issues are, but and hopefully iron out some of them early on with the organisations. But to my mind, if they're going to go in and do cooking or Sunday dinners or Lego clubs or signposting, their staff and their time and teams going in there, to me, are ample, payment in a way for, what's on offer to the community. We're allowing that to happen. We're facilitating, say, the community bank to have a spot in town that they've been begging for NCC for years, and this is now within our gift to help that happen to the local community. So it is an amazing opportunity, and yes, it may be bumpy, and the lease is, as I say, a yearly. It's a rolling lease, so if after, I suspect year 1 we'll be getting it up and running, and year 2 will be up and off, and then hopefully we can review it as we go along, obviously. But then if it's not working, it's not working. But I'm really hoping that the interest we've seen so far is quite staggering, and I'm surprised this wasn't done earlier with it. Really, it's a good model.
Can I ask an open question to you then? Are you proposing that the on-costs of running that is met by the town council, of which I'd be supportive of, rather than going to the sub-agencies? So the £2.5 grand however much it costs.
Yeah,
so we said that bill stops with us.
Yes.
And we allow the community groups to grow inside.
Yes.
Well, I would support that.
Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I'm supportive of it. Just like voice my support, and I'm supportive of the idea that our contribution is the bills and maintenance costs. It allows the other organisations to do what they're good at in that space.
Were those bills and ongoing costs covered by HTC?
Yes.
No, yes.
Well, not directly.
Hexham.
Well, yeah, go through us.
Through us, so we're not getting hit with any additional costs from what was there before.
No, that's not directly true. The town council was not paying those costs directly.
HTC were paying.
It's the community partnership.
And we were funding HTC.
And we were contributing to another partnership. So
I was just trying to identify whether we're getting hit with additional costs from what we paid before through HTC.
Yeah, I mean, there was never a specific, it was never ring-fenced the money for HTC, so we didn't know specifically what went where, as it were, which was a little bit confusing until the end. But now we do know what those running costs they were paying were, and we know what grant we gave them in total was, so which was big, and this is quite tiny in comparison. So hopefully we can do something, big, bold, brave that Hexham deserves, because these are community organisations from yes, they'll be based in East, but these organisations are in town already. They're the food bank, community centre, DAPT, Hextol, they all want a bit of.
I guess what I was trying to see was whether the changeover from HTC to the council was people were using that as an opportunity to maybe push more costs our way, but it sounds like that's not the case.
Well, I mean, they may have grander projects than we know about. At the moment, we've been sort of mooting ideas with them, and some of those might come at a cost, but we don't know yet. I'm hoping that certainly the provision of the space, which people seem to be clamouring for more than anything else, is going to be enough for them to get their teeth into and run something where you can see if it works.
Well, if it grows, that's a different thing,
okay, so I withdraw my last statement. But I think that it would be good if we could make clear what we're liable with a small L, what we agree to pay. So the running costs of the building. And then if any other projects want to come out that need supporting, then they would apply to the town council in the usual way. Yes. So the only reason I suggested that they should make some contribution is something about a buy-in, an investment in that space. But if I take Stephen's point that actually the mechanisms for that are totally complicated, and they're not making money out of it, they are providing an extended service. So I agree with that, we shouldn't ask for any money, but we should be quite clear what we're paying for, and anything in addition has to come through different groups. Then it might be asked, but that's as they are separate.
Yeah, and the steering group will have to put these questions to the groups as they come in, what their contribution is in terms of running a day at the house, say, cleaning up afterwards, things like that, and general oversight, coffee and tea, I imagine. Things like that.
Right. So it's small, but once you make a decision, if it's successful, we could put Hexham Town Council sign on the building.
Well, with carbon, I can't see, they've already got a carbon sign, so I can't see that would be an issue at all, but Grand plans, Mike, I like it.
Well, just visibility.
Yes.
There's a bigger question that you touched on. Is it affordable? Yes, because we were funding X amount of money, which was considerably more. And the bigger question on top of that, can we run it better than it was run before? And the answer is yes. So if those 2 points are clear, I'm very supportive of what else is.
Can we need to vote on it?
Just a couple of simple questions. Do you see the CE committee managing the site? Or is that the forum where timetabling will be done? Is that the forum?
No, at the moment we've got a sort of steering group, as we're, you're right, but it needs to have some kind of structure to it. So it's myself, Tom, Mike and Simon have been at the meeting so far. Stephen, you're quite keen, I think, to be on that, is that correct?
He's the fire alarm monitor.
Adding to your point, if I want to book something, who do I book it through?
Well, you can it's going to have, our steering group's going to have to evolve into something that people can come to when we advertise it. So we put on the comms and on the signs outside the house if you want to use this space. I mean, at the moment we're in talks with loads of organisations, so they all know. Sorry, John, you want to go back as well?
No, finish up your answer, just.
So it will have to be, on the steering group, that will have to come out as to how we go about advertising where people are going with it and contacting people in the house. I presume the house will be open on certain days anyway for drop-ins, so it will be apparent on their notice board within the house itself, our comms, email. So that would come through the steering.
So I think the answer to that, Stephen, is we want to automate as much as we can at this, and that it is not down to the council nor individual councillors to say, the diary who's going in on Tuesday. 3 o'clock. We are absolutely not getting involved in the administration of that. Yes, the lease, but if you've got 5 bodies, you'd expect that body 1's going in on Monday, body 2's doing it Tuesday, body 3's doing Wednesday week, and all that type of stuff. Is that would be kind of set without minutiae hands-on investigations into that. So we can't be drawn into that because we wouldn't get anywhere. It's very fast. John.
There's no staffing implication. We've mentioned cleaning up and putting copies out of such like. I know Mike doesn't live far away, and he's already volunteered for one job.
So I think the utilities bill from HTC included cleaner going in. The cleaner used to go in, I think, every 2 weeks or a week. So it was that was included in that 2,000.
£2,000.
Yeah, we don't. I think you know, while I'm supportive of this, I was attracted to the pro rata thing, but I'm happy to go along with the majority. But I think we really needed to make sure that we aren't drawn into sort of very deep administrative burden on this, as in time-wise, because you know, getting the clerk or the deputy clerk, whatever, end up doing work like that is just, that's a cost. Every hour they spend doing that, I mean, it's as a cost directly to that, and also the opportunity cost of doing work that it's got different value. So right, so we go to the vote. Or do you want to speak, John? Speak,
just in principle, I'm very much behind it, but the devil's in the detail.
Indeed.
We need to know what we're signing up for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just say, I think that there's a principle here. The principle of that we're the leaseholders, but we are not responsible for the day-to-day.
Absolutely.
That, I think that covers everything, because then the steering committee are going to have to sort out how it works. But I wouldn't support that.
But I am happy to the 12 months rolling, so if it does go in the wrong direction and it's becoming heavy, we can rethink things. So what is the motion or the agreement here? Is that we agree to a 5-year lease which has 12 month rolling lease breaks. That town council will pick up the cost of utilities, etc.
And then still subject to management facility agreed to operate something. There has to be a subject to it.
Well, I'm subject to a meeting with the assets, the team on site, isn't it? Andrew, I'm going to go and meet the surveyor really and just make sure everything is as it.
So it's an in principle.
Yes.
Have you got enough there? Yeah. Are there those in favour? Good. Passed. Good. Right. We go to number 11, which is to agree the continuance of Hexham as a core town council project. I'll bring Penny.
Yes, thank you very much. People will be aware that we put in a bid to the National Lottery. It was for 3 years worth of funding, and one of the costs within that was to make the coordinator of Hexham a proper number of staff. So I'm actually self-employed. She's been doing this job now for, well, the post has been in existence for 5 years, and she's been doing it for a couple. And we didn't get, we applied for the monies and we didn't get it. So I think it's important that I mean, Hexham is growing, if you'll excuse the pun, like Topsy. We've got all sorts of partnerships going on. They've just been to Amsterdam, Beck's just been to Amsterdam with Catherine Agar from the Library Service, because there's a joint project going on there around stories about growing food, and it's huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And I don't think it is actually sustainable for us to expect Bex to be working as self-employed part-time worker in perpetuity. And I would like really the Town Council to recognise that Hexham is one of its core projects. We've got £15,000 in named reserves for this project, and to give Bex 15 hours a week over 52 weeks, so there's obviously seasonal variations, but not a lot actually. She does a lot in the winter as well. Would cost, Andrew can correct me, £14,855. So we've got land reserves for 15k, and it will cost us the equivalent of that for us to make Bex a member of staff. And so that's what I'm asking. We'll continue. I'd just like to point out, until I think 2 months ago, Hexham has cost the Town Council nothing other than some time from Andrew because we've fundraised for all of it for the last 5 years, which is pretty good going, and we'll continue to do that. There was another fund that we've been signposted to. So the additional costs of running Grow Hexham, like seeds and compost and all that sort of thing, would not be part of that cost, and we would continue to fundraise for that. So that's what I'm proposing today. It's been to F&GP and was agreed that, in principle, that this is what we should do. So I think we've reached a point in the project where it's sort of, this is a critical element to its continued sustainability, but also expansion.
That's good.
Yeah, question.
Your 15,000 reserves, that's from the town council reserves,
Yes.
is it? And you're employing somebody for, is it a rolling programme then? The person you're giving the job to would be for 1 year. Otherwise it's a commitment for perpetuity, really. Are you asking for 15 grand this year and then apply for 15 grand the next year? Or?
Well, I'll defer to Andrew on this one. I mean, can you be a permanent member of staff and be on a 12-month contract?
No, that's not like a contract.
Does-
So it's a contract?
No, it's not a contract. She's already got a contract.
But
I would like her to become a town council member of staff.
that's fine, I'm not taking issue with it.
Yes,
It's just the legalities of we've got another employee
yes,
and all that, all the on cost that brings.
yes.
It's far easier to have somebody self-employed, take up holidays and national insurance and everything, than employ somebody. So it's just a question for the town council, but she would be a permanent member of staff, and that 15,000 would be rolling on every year.
So built into the bid, which was agreed by the town council, was that status. So if we'd have got the money from the National Lottery, she would have become a permanent member of staff. So the reason I'm coming here is not about the issue of the permanence, because if we'd been successful we would already have that. It's about our commitment to the project, I think, really.
It's just a clarity I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's right. But I do think that we're also on slightly difficult ground, because I understand that there is either a moral or a legal, I'm not entirely sure, limit on how long you can just keep employing somebody on a regular basis on a self-employed basis. I think it's not a sustainable state of affairs. I think it needs to be, it's a post. If the post has been in existence for 5 years, she works 52 weeks of the year. So, no, I don't know if that helps.
Stunned silence. Has this gone elsewhere, like to any more?
Yeah, it's they're big to F&GP. I think Faye might have sent a message about this to you just before this meeting, because she can't do it.
So this would be, so you're saying this is a permanent post? An employee of the council? And is the Grow Hexham anticipated to be a permanent ongoing feature?
Well, I hope so, yes. I mean, it is the partnership working is absolutely massive. It was big to start with, but it's absolutely massive now. So it's through the libraries, it's through Transition Tynedale, it's number 28, it's through the first school in the east. There's a community orchard. We've got the greenhouse here. We work with the youth aid, the community centre. This is one of those projects, I think, a bit like number 28, that we should be supporting in some sort of sustainable way, because it's got tendrils into every part of the town, the community grocers, the Quatre Bras allotments, And I think if we're serious about reducing food miles and our concerns about climate change and sustainability and resilience in the town, I think this is a cornerstone project, really. And it benefits, we have all sorts of groups use the community garden all the time, from toddlers who come and play in the grass to people with mental health problems. I mean, the job that she is doing is absolutely extraordinary, and I don't imagine for a minute that it's going to, diminish in any way. It's just going to expand.
So, I fully support the continuance of Grow Hexham as a project. I'm not entirely sure the consequences of employing somebody full time.
No, it's not full time.
Oh, sorry, employing somebody on a permanent contract. Sorry, I meant to say that. Do they go on to a council pay band then, or?
Yeah, they'd go on to they'd be like any other member of staff. So if they were made a permanent member of staff, they'd be entitled to same pension scheme and terms and conditions as anybody else.
So would we have the authority to determine that here, or would it need to be agreed with the HR department of the NCC?
No, I mean, in terms of any new role needs to be determined by the full council. So it's primacy is with you.
So what's the cost difference between what we currently pay for her as a contractor versus the additional cost, national insurance, etc., pension, that we would pay extra for an equivalent time?
I think we're currently paying about £13.50 an hour all in for, as a contract.
Do you know what the equivalent cost per hour would be employing her as a permanent member?
With everything in, it is, I have got it written down. Ask another question, someone I'll find.
It's normally circa 20% more expensive, isn't it? For Super Ann and NI.
Pension.
All right.
Would £15,000 attract national insurance? It used to be a lower earnings company.
It's still paying an hour and that.
And presumably pensions.
I suppose in a way she's one of the grounds team, isn't she? And that we employ members of staff within the grounds who go out and do the town, we plant the town and look after the cemetery. So it's an extension of that, and a very successful extension of that. She's worked wonders over at the community garden and at the other garden that we asked her to do, that the 28 did. I suppose it's whether or not we want to take on another permanent member of staff at the extra costs, but then if we're paying other people that work for us, then why are we not necessarily paying X the same? Is the question, and whether we have capacity for that, or whether we think that there are other staffing issues that are more pertinent, or that this is a valuable project that the town supports and loves, and whether we want to continue it in this framework, I suppose, is what you're saying. So she would become a member of our Hexham Town Council team.
So
I'll think it through really.
I'll just interject because I can see the questions being raised are absolutely the right ones. I think the questions being raised are absolutely the right ones. What would have here is you can say yes, you can say no, or what we could do is ask for a bit more detailed information to answer some of the questions that are being posed and bring it back next month if council's minded to do that. So you could do that. So that is three potential options here: either yes, employ, no, don't employ, or can we get a bit more information as to like what the achievements are? Because I think it may not be necessarily clear to everybody as to what those achievements and objectives and the outcomes have been of the work versus costs of being on a contract, costs versus being on as an employee. You can really get into the details. So I can see that's where the questions are sort of kind of heading. But I'll open up. Tom, did you have a question?
I want to be supportive, and I think it is in the detail. And I feel like personally I want a bit more time just to consider everything rather than making a decision in this meeting.
Okay.
But I think I know I'd be supportive of the position of employing. I just want to consider it.
Yeah, I think I'd want to be supportive. I was just thinking actually there's a potential link up with number 28 because it's Grove Hexham. But I was also thinking in terms of agree with what Derek said, so we can have a look at it. But I was also thinking earlier this year when we were looking at all of our kind of grant spend, we made a change. So we've changed on one particular area. So we do have a bit of, I think coming up into next year, we can then sort of balance it out by wasting time. I'm thinking actually we do have some reserves. Not that we go into that, but I'm just saying overall we can sort of move around what we're going to do with the grants to accommodate this person because it's the right thing to do. But obviously that kind of detail, but that just popped into my head.
Have a support of it, but there's some big questions within that. We've got a member of the ground staff who's directly answerable to somebody else. That might be an issue. I think there's an issue of in our general accounts of taking £15,000 from reserves, not having £15,000 as a cushion for something else. We might have to adjust our accounts. So I would like to have a little bit more details, but as others have expressed, I'd be supportive of it in principle, providing those questions can be answered.
John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just hugely supportive of Bex and everything that she's done. When you consider, Penny, how this project started with, you've got a garden you're not tending and you want to do some gardening. And it was as simple as that, and then it absolutely flew. And who knows where it's going to go in the next few years. I think it has amazing potential to reach parts that the town council would like to reach but doesn't. And I think Bex and you and your team have done marvellously. But I take the point. There are issues, as I said earlier, about a different matter. The devil's in the detail. And just to say, oh yes, we'll sign somebody up. I'd like to be able to say that, but I feel as if we've got to look at it again and find out the answers to these.
All right. So I'll put a proposal on the table. Is that we'll ask Penny, if you like lead on it, is to bring this back to the next full town council. I think you've picked up what the questions are here. It's about we're looking at costs, achievements, outcomes. I think the question Stephen Bowes has raised as well about accountability. So who would manage Bex in that which way? How does the actual structure of the town council grounds maintenance work? Is she semi-detached? Is she detached? Is she part of the team? I think can Bex be used to come and dig a grave now and again? but you know I'm just joking but then you know where I'm going with this. It's just like how where's the cross fertilisation of jobs, and is there some integration in there? I think that's what we're all kind of asked about, John.
I think the point Steve brought up was very, very important because we're on a limited time here. No guarantee we're going to stand up, be elected in next time round anyway. So we could have a situation where there's Bex on the staff with no penny, for instance.
Yeah.
And how does that resolve itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we just need that permanency because it is. I come from an older background, and all those questions were ringing in my head as well about like governance and controls and all those types of things and how does it all stems together. So I'll put that on the table as a what's the word I'm searching for? Proposal. Is there a seconder for that proposal, please? Okay, we've got Tom and Steve. So the proposal is that this comes back in a month's time with a bit more detail with regards to all the things we talked about, so the outcomes, costs, governance, accountability, chain of command, etc. In favour? Are you in favour? Okay. First, thank you. Right, on to number 12, which is determine council position on the future ownership arrangements for Fellside. Who's taking this one, Penny?
It's
Yeah, but we were going off camera for this one, were we not?
Are we?
Well, I think as long as we're not, it's up to you. I think if you can do it without having any commercial sensitivities, then you may. But I've already told people you may wish to, so it's.
I prefer that because that means that we can have a more robust discussion about it without wondering which toes they might be treading on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll park this to the end of the meeting. Okay, we'll go on to 13. So.
I think it has to, Penny, because there's detail that NCC haven't released yet there, so we can't really.
Okay. So 13, mayor's announcements. So I would like to, I'm going to introduce this to Laura. Laura, would you like to stand up and say hello to everybody? Laura is our this year's work experience comes from the high school. So we've had a number of work experience people over the period. It's really nice to see your faces, and we welcome them. So you're here till Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Excellent. Good. Thank you. So it's good. Right. So mayor's announcements. So what's been going on? So we've got quite a lot, and there'll be some conversation within the mayor's announcements. So let's go through that. I was happy to be invited to Cafe Ooh La La earlier the last couple of weeks, and I was given the first thing with Cafe Ooh La La, which was very, very, very generous of them, I must say. So I had raclette cheese. I did, and I did tell them about how I used to have Cafe Ooh La La in my old house, because that's what I used to call me when I used to give me daughter her dinner, and she wouldn't eat it. I used to go, because we're going to go to Cafe Ooh La La, which was in my house. So it was really interesting that that was all came about. Very, very bizarre. But yeah, so welcome then. Go up to Cafe Ooh La La. Very cheese based. Cheese is life is their mantra. But there we go. Right, what also you have the Pride Park Run on Saturday 27th of June at 9 AM. On the same day, 27th of June, there's a bus drop-in at 1:30 at the library at Queen's Hall. All welcome to that.
Do you want some more detail on that, because it's quite exciting. Right. So the bus drop-in has been organised by sort of local councillors in the Tyne Valley, because we've got questions to put to Go North East and Stagecoach specifically. So they will be there along with transport officers from NCC, two of those. And what will happen was so it'll start at 1:30. There'll be a presentation, and then there'll be questions from the public to officers and Go North East and Stagecoach about local services. If you have a problem with local services and the bus station and that, because Hexham bus station needs work, and the town service also needs a bit of some questions about that. So basically, Go North East and Stagecoach are subsidised by NCC, and they've been given an extension on the contract that they already had for 2 years. And it's whether residents are happy with that service. I know a lot of my residents have lots of questions to ask, so please do come along. Any concerns with local transport issues, in the town valley as well as Hexham, come along to that at 1:30 at the library on the 27th of June. There you go.
Very good. Neil Park has his wedding on the 27th of June, so congratulations. So you're going to have a busy day on the 27th of June, don't you, got all these things? We can squeeze it in somewhere. So congratulations to Neil on his wedding in the next few days.
We invite you.
So the question of cost is...
Yeah. Right, so the market store, we're having our market store, we didn't have any last year just due to the marketplace shambles developments last year, so the market store, we're going to have that on the Saturday the 13th. There's a number of people who put their names up for that, so we'll reinstate that. And those who haven't attended before, I would really encourage anybody to go. It is such good fun. Councillors can talk to each other in a very casual manner. The public will just come and see you, and we've got loads of things to talk to the public about. It's really good outreach, way of outreaching to people. So we have that on Saturday.
We get the stocks out, don't we? As well. It's very exciting.
So that'll be good. Within that, I'm now you should have a piece of paper called the Hexham Town Council Ambulance Replacement Scheme.
Don't what's the times for the farmers market thing? So
I'll just check.
oh yeah, you can check.
It is 9:30 till 11:30, and you can just come any time which way you want. I'll look to set it all up. I might be there at very start, but I'll get there in the morning, set it up, and then go away and come back. Yeah. Okay. It's great fun, honestly. It's such good fun. Right, so Hexham Abbey Lights. So I've been speaking with a number of councillors. So as you know, you've all voted for the principle and the monies towards the Hexham Abbey Lights replacement scheme, which are owned by Hexham Town Council and paid for by Hexham Town Council. As part of our way of getting the monies, we have to demonstrate that we have done some outreach. Done some outreach to the public and asked for their opinions. So the clerk has come up with some interesting questions for us to say, are you content that these are the right questions? And if so, we will take them to the market stall and be asking the members of the public to make some agreements or not against this, and then we'll be passing out this questionnaire elsewhere as well. Probably, I think one thing we need to add is name of
Just for
validation, yeah. So we'll probably need a name of the person, and do we need an email address or something?
Email, well,
or just address?
It's more relevant. The address is more relevant.
Right, address. Okay, so we want name and address to be added to that. So I'll go through the questions to see if you think these are the right ones, if you need to amend them, change them, and delete them, etc. Number one, are you aware that Hexham Town Council implemented the Abbey Floodlight Scheme over 20 years ago for the benefit of the town? Yes, no, unsure. Are you content that that's a correct question? Yeah.
Could we put something in like continuing there?
Yeah, we can. Two, do you support the proposal to upgrade the Abbey's floodlights to a multi-colour system? So I would suggest do we need to include like LEDs? I think we should put it in like a low wattage or low energy LED.
What about variable colour? Because multicolour sounds like that will be at the same time.
Those variable.
One of the big flaws in this, Derek, is there's no mention of cost. So if I'm answering this, I might agree if it was 10,000, but won't agree if it was 1 million.
Yeah.
I think somewhere in this, perhaps on number 2, it says at a cost of, spread over so many years,
Yeah.
and then people are given an informed view.
Yeah, so cost and time period, yeah. So that needs to be added in here somewhere. 3, how important do you think improved abbey lighting is for enhancing the town's appearance and identity? Content of that?
The only thing is, I mean, it's just, we've got native, we really understand it. You're going to have a real good dialogue with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so make it real to them.
Yeah, I agree.
And abstract it. So,
Yeah, might need a preamble, I guess.
Understand that the current ones are coming to the end of the lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be there early, so I can give a bit of background to everyone.
So we'll add a sentence preamble to that, I think. Yeah, that would be good. Well, I think that's absolutely right.
Sorry, Derek, I'm just thinking I can speak to David Glover and get the numbers that actually go into the Abbey, and I can probably give you, if you wanted a guess estimate, to sort of say something like 20,000, 30,000 visitors come in to see the Abbey, and in tourism this brings 500,000 or 1 million in Hexham every year, just to kind of give that reasoning behind, because we could let the whole thing just fall and go into disrepair. And remember David Glover pointing out that a lot of people do come to Hexham to go to the Abbey, and it's a draw.
So that is a fair point. But that means it's people going in the Abbey, but remembering we're light in the Abbey, which actually affects probably 10 times more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just can't.
The principle is absolutely sound. Yeah, but I think we should do that.
So I'll give you some numbers.
I mean, currently as well, to hire the numbers for what we're saving in energy costs, so it was half, more or less, wasn't it? So it was from 6,000 that we were paying for halogen a year to 3,000 for what we've accepted. So that's the energy costs over time. And yes, they were coming to the end, so they could have just go out. So we can choose not to replace them entirely is an option, obviously.
But this is not too specific for me. It should be so many people visit Hexham. That's what it should be about, not about the cost of this time. It's a bit over my head, and you've got 2 minutes of somebody reluctantly doing this. I think it's got to be broad brush. And how many people visit Hexham? Put the answers in the mouth. Do you want more people to visit Hexham to boost our economy? All those sort of add-ons to it.
Yeah, economic development. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Good. So the next one was, what benefits do you think upgrading lighting would bring to the town? And there's increased tourism, more community events, improved town pride, identity, better nighttime atmosphere, etc. 5, to fund this project, Hexham Town Council may need to borrow money. Well, it's not a may, it's a will, isn't it? May rather than a may. Will need to borrow money, which will be paid for through local pre-tech.
I won't include any question 5 on it, because you just create a problem. Or how much are you going to increase the precept by?
Question 5 is the one we specifically have to ask.
Right.
Could that not be included in question 2 as a wraparound?
We've got to get on some things the approval of the community that you're taking on a project that you need borrowing for that may increase the precepts, and you've got to spell that out.
Well, I'd spell it out under 2.
Yeah, that's
I mean, most people don't know what a precept is, in truth.
No, I don't.
But if you said, would you be willing to support this as part of a town council project?
Yeah.
That's the way
So you need to have a way of making sure it's only Hexham town residents that are completing this? Because of that question.
Yeah.
It really is then a matter of decision, isn't it?
That's why your address is important. That's the word.
Right, so that's a good point, yeah.
Mind you, I think it'd be possible to have, if you wanted that question, which you only need the answer from residents, but only answer this if you're a resident, because it'd be really interesting to hear what other businesses say. So if you filled it in and you were a visitor
Or you
in
could
their
just
town,
ask.
you just say, yeah. But also I think that there's something about different surveys going out.
Well, I think my answer to that would be...
No, I haven't finished yet.
Sorry.
So I think that you could put some of these details to this to the businesses, actually the local businesses that surround the area, who understand the impact of having the lights there and events and what that means to their business. I think you could have quite sort of more technical. I think for the marketplace stall, I think it should be a bit more, well, you know, this is why we're doing it, what do you think about that, and if you live here, do you think we should pay for it or provide it as part of what we do? So I'm with Stephen, but I think it's horses for courses, but you still get the same information.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think what I was going to say is, like, I think doing it at the marketplace, you know, stall, and not saying, oh, do you live in Hexham or do you not? I think if you're letting everybody sign it, which I prefer, I think you get to see like how many people come from other places to come to Hexham, because they're the tourists who are expanding the economy, because obviously people in Hexham will spend money in Hexham. It's the tourists who add the sprinkles on the top. Right.
I was just going to say both John and Derek, when we've increased the precept, and it was only been minor, I think he broke it down into pounds or pennies a week. And that was a very good, strong argument. I think for this, if you're able to raise it 50 pence or a pound a year, or whatever, and that was really strong. And I think you were talking about the collective impact putting that together to work really well. Because you might sit there and think, well, that's going to be a lot of £100. I don't want to do that. But if it's like 50p, I'm like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's good. Good suggestion.
So what's the overall cost of the lighting?
150,000.
150,000, and then revenue?
3 instead of 6.
Okay. So that has to be met by borrowing rather than existing reserves?
Yeah.
It's all about presentation.
It is.
All about presentation.
It is.
And the loan would be taken out for the life of the lights.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a rental on the lights.
Very good. So, right, so we're good. You have to go.
I think if we encapsulate Mike and Stephen's point and just say, would you be happy to spend an extra £1.10p a year on this project, then that covers it.
And if you could create a couple of pictures, you know, that they give us, we can get them on a plastic laminates, you know, we can hand them on and stuff.
But it's not an extra £1.10 because it's already in the precept, isn't it?
No. The 150 is extra.
We're borrowing.
We're borrowing.
Yeah, but we've budgeted for it.
We've budgeted
It's already in the precept.
So it's just,
So if you say it's an extra, it's like, well, I've already paid the council tax.
So, sorry, are we proposing a rise in the precept on the back of this?
No.
Because
It's already budgeted.
I think the implication is that that's like a better side on raising council tax at the way I'm reading it.
That's not that.
Yeah, but we have to ask that question in order to take the loan out. This is the principle that we have to consult and we have to get people's permission to do something we've already budgeted for.
I think you need to get in that it's like within the existing council tax take, because it implies, particularly if you're saying, would you be prepared to pay an extra £1 something, that implies you're increasing it.
That's very fun.
Selling another way, saying, hey residents, look at this. Or you're already it only cost you £1.10. Oh, this is what was
Some nice pictures, yes.
I'll bring a kaleidoscope instead, I'm sure. That's another thing. we'll get that titled and that will be taken to the motor store. Right, so that's that. Right, the next thing we were going to talk about was Roger and Tom ideas for the opening of the play park, anticipated to be around the end of June.
19 with last Thursday.
Yeah, we don't want to say too specific in front of the camera, so they was in the end of June. Roger and Tom, what's your initial thoughts on it?
Well, I've no. I didn't see that on the agenda.
I'm not messaging you say that.
I mean, I'm not desperately keen to like snap the red ribbon myself, particularly. I thought it'd be quite nice to get that.
Well, you know what to do it.
Stealing the ball over.
But then they get some involvement from like the SEAL school. So if we do it around at what, a school time-ish, time to get the school involved?
One of the things I thought was included in Hexham Youth Initiative.
Yeah.
You know, that they're drawing some of the kids who might use that for the wrong reasons or whatever, that they don't have some form of ownership.
Yeah.
And I certainly think you should use Rosie somewhere.
Definitely.
That we're supporting community activists who are specific to this project.
Definitely.
But Hexham Youth Initiative would be a good one in terms of ownership of, and I think you two should be at the forefront.
I think getting school involved is great, and youth initiative great. You're going to have to be careful with pictures if that's part of the opening.
Yeah.
That's often an issue with both of those groups, so we're going to have to be very careful. I do like the idea of kind of, I don't know, just kind of are we doing a ribbon or climbing it, or so are we testing it out? Or we could have ice creams, we could have a brass band. I mean, it's a park, so we should celebrate it opening. It's brilliant. The commons look amazing online. Everyone's very excited about it, so it should have something quite exciting. I mean, that's just my idea. So the Tyndale Valley Ice is Zoe's amazing. I mean, we could approach her and say she's happy to do something after school.
Well, they're there all the time.
He's
still in there, we've been closed.
I'm sure she'd want to know and be involved in some way. She's very generous and kind, or we could, ask a band to come along and play.
We've got Hexham brass band, we've got Morris dancers, and we've got all sorts of things that would want to be part of it.
Hexham brass band.
We've got a flyover as well if you wanted to. I don't really have Boris dancers and play hosting, but I don't know that. Anyway, that's
If you wanted them, you might have to have a different time of day if you want them and
the school and everything else. I mean,
Can we get the town crowns at town?
the right time, right?
Yes. I think we should use the town criers more than we have
Okay.
recently.
We haven't explained it yet.
I think a weekend day might be better just in terms of the number of people that would be there kind of naturally using the park.
That's a fair point.
So with contributing to sing, wouldn't it be wonderful if it's sort of like, I don't know, Friday at 3:15 and the kids all just pour out the seal and start using it.
Yeah, you will get all the kids if they're coming out from school, the parents.
You could have the smallest or youngest kid in the school
On the top.
opening it.
Yeah.
They had some, on Hexham History Society, they have some old pictures of the park. I thought it might be quite interesting just to see people's oldest memories of the park and get somebody,
The oldest and youngest.
oldest and youngest kind of thing.
Actually, Hexham Youth Initiative did that photography project that they had the children in the park in the past and the children in the park in the future. It was an amazing picture, and they put it together. It was for part of that Hexham East Stories that they did at Grace did at 28, and it's an amazing photo. It was Hexham Youthy kids who took it and displayed it, so they've got that stand still at Youth Initiative, and it's all around the Seal Park, past and present. It's amazing. We could use some of that in some of the commons possibly. But it's going to be hard to let kids go into the school if that's the opening, and then possibly get them to say, can we take your child's photo?
Well, you won't be able to get photographs are such a problem these days. That's why Hexham Youth Initiative, it's not as big a problem. Well, you know, my little daughter wouldn't let me take a photograph of their kids.
Actually, that's true because they know who they can and can't.
Yeah.
And Hexham Youth Initiative, it's quite quick.
How do they?
Yes, Kida knows, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's two things going on here. Do we want to just do a big event everybody talks about, or are we tailoring it so that we take photographs of it? Because then we can take photographs of the councillors all doing their, exciting things with scissors, and then you can have the big opening, and then you can have photographs of other people doing other things. I think that, otherwise GDP, whatever it is, and identifying the back of a kid's head just starts ruining our lives. And it's about the kids being in the park, and playing, not about a record for us.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So that's two things, isn't it? What one, the photographing it, and two, just getting the kids all playing.
Yeah. And I think half tell us the whole school that whenever they come out on that Friday, whatever Friday it is, that the park's going to be open and there's going to be a funny man in a chain who's going to cut a ribbon. Is it 3:15 the school club again? So, right, so... That'd just be great, wouldn't it? And we can do all our formal silly stuff.
Yeah, we can do that before.
Yeah.
This is done to the Friday. It could be whatever. Sooner the better, encourage it eagerly once you do it.
But that would be lovely for the weekend.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was just that the proposed date is the Friday. So, as we'd like to think it's all done. I mean, the Friday would be so exciting that for all the kids could go home.
And certainly the parent group were heavily involved with it, Roger, and like with behind it, so we're good to get.
Definitely get in.
Yeah.
So have we got a bit of a, so what's the outline plan then? It's to get so if we do it in two parts, I say as those who the parents behind the what were they called? The parents?
Rosie
and the parents type thing, yeah.
Rosie P.
So we'll get her and councillors and the Hexham Youth Initiative. Would we be able to get them? Would we be able to pass too much on a Friday?
One phone call to keep
Right, we'll sort that.
That's the easiest.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So if we did that for say like 2 o'clock type of thing on the Friday. I mean, this is outline, obviously, depending on the delivery of the project.
If it's 2 o'clock, those kids will be at school.
That's what I'm thinking.
No, we turn up at, I don't know, 3. Have our serious photographs taken, and then wait for them to come out at 1:15, cut the ribbon, open the play park, everybody have a super duper time, and then depending on the role of the youth, they can fit around that.
Don't worry. Yeah, we'll do something like that then.
Okay.
It sounds a bit messy, like, but we'll get it. Right, okay, that's good. Right, everybody okay with that? Okay.
Mrs. Milner is the head. Let's see.
Right, 14. I think that's everything. Now we'll have a visit from Metzingen. The people of Metzingen are joining us on the 3rd of July. So all councillors are invited on the 3rd of July at 6 o'clock to the Queen's Hall. It's only short, probably about half an hour, 45 minutes, where we'll meet the people from our twin town of Metzingen in Germany. So there'll just be a few soft drinks and just about a little thing. And then there's a book.
Yes. So our culture offering at the town is that we had this idea that we would run a book group to discuss a book that was suggested by the German group that meets regularly every month. And they wanted to discuss Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell. So I'm chairing it with Kim Sanderson, who's a translator and German speaker. So we will be having a relaxed chat book group before the main event, so 4 o'clock in the Queen's Hall. And anyone who wants to come along and talk about that book, if you've read it, do come along and we'll exchange cross-cultural ideas.
What's the book about?
It's Hamlet, so it's Shakespeare's A Son Who Died, no spoilers obviously. So it's been turned into a film. It was released this year. It won the Oscars and BAFTAs and things. So it's a very famous book and film. So we're hoping most people who've read it will want to come and just have in good company, have some drinks and discuss the book.
Okay, that's very good. And I'll just briefly touch on this other subject, which is coming to the Town Council next month. Myself and Suzanne met with Lindsay from Mr Wolf, who's now part of the Hexham Business Forum, and to discuss a new social media thing that they're sort of going to propose to us. Called Discover Hexham. So I'll not go into any more detail than that, but I've asked them to come to the Town Council next month, where they will bring some more thoughts on where they would like to take something called Discover Hexham, what role they would like the Town Council to play within that, but it will be a much broader, wider subject on like basically articulating the wheres and the wherefores of Hexham to the public, to attract people to our town.
It's very exciting, I have to say, after that meeting. They are full of ideas. It's the business group that's amazing. So hopefully that will come across in the next meeting.
Yeah, good. Right, okay, right, next one. Item 14, to agree council payment. Right, so those, so page 1, page 2, page 3, any comments, any questions? Listings of payments in each code of all cost centres, page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. Everybody, move on to the next item, which is item 15, to note approved minutes of committee meetings. Finance and general purposes, 22nd of April, page 1. Page 2. Planning and infrastructure committee, 5th of May, page 1. It's 4 and 5 yet.
Did we object to the advertisement thing at Petrol Station?
Where's that one?
Second off last page.
We did, yes. We did.
Item 13, I think that's supposed to be item
So we've had some correspondence from, just to give an update on the reasons why the play park hasn't been in place as soon as it should be. So, hi Andrew, just a little bit of information on why we are delayed on site, as we understand that you have questions to answer. The delay has been completely due to the allocation of labour/manpower by the contractor. They have had some staffing issues and did not have their full allocation on site as planned. It is normal that the teams would split up and one would carry out post-servicing works on the previous site in their schedule. In this instance, when they were down to minimal staff, this then became a problem for them logistically, and even on the days that they were on site, they were not at full strength. We do plan our installation schedule in great detail and are careful that we do not overload both our own teams and our contractors. However, absence weather and site conditions like hard digging can always impact this, and small delays can become more pronounced as the team fails to catch up. Compound have worked with this contractor for many years. We know the standard of work they produce and can testify to their work ethic. Unfortunately, on this occasion, they've been fairly up against it and have been unable to catch up. Again, we are pushing hard to get the project over the line, and once we have a further progress update from site, we will pass this on. Okay.
Just a question, is there a retention in this and a guarantee?
There's guarantees, but there's no retention.
And how long is the guarantee for?
I think it's all minimum 10 years.
Do we have to pay within a certain...
When they finish, we pay straight away.
There's an independent inspection that is budgeted as part of the contract, and it's only after that the works past that inspection that we're then liable to pay.
That's good practice, isn't it?
We've also been wanting to make sure that CCT goes onto the site, but we have to get the electricity feed off the lighting column. So I've been waiting for NCC to come back to us. They haven't been coming back, but I spoke to Andy Olive at Highways, and he's chasing that so that we get a response for the electricity to go in, so we can get the CCTV put up before the park starts.
On the CCTV, the costing for that is coming from, the funding for that's coming from where?
It's coming from us. It was agreed in P&I a while ago.
And is there any chance of getting some money from like the mayor of North East? That's something that they could, I was thinking Crown, Police and Crown Commission, they're on that, but within that budget, is there anything?
Possibly.
I think that's a real possibility. And the thing that stopped it before you got this, Derek, was where does it go to?
Well, it's the system that's been proposed is monitored 24 hours by a contractor that has people in the Tyne Valley that I think they've got a 20-minute call out to Hexham,
right.
So that they can have somebody there, but they've also got a direct line to the police to inform of any
So who pays for that? That comes out of cost, will it?
That comes out of cost. So there's no additional cost over and above the fee we pay weekly.
And how much is the fee?
I can't really see the 62 or 65 pound a week, so it's 160. I'll check and I'll let you know before the end of the meeting.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's funding for that, because I know other places have got funding in West Yorkshire for exactly that.
£62.50 plus VAT a week.
So that's what, £3.5 grand, 3,200, is it? We pay for that.
You pay for that.
Right. Next correspondence.
There was just some correspondence from the police just said that they'd had incidents of kids getting into the compound. The compound is, as far as we're aware from the contractors, all compliant, but I'll report any incidents to the contractors so that they can make their best efforts to make it as secure as possible.
I did mention it to Rosie. They rang us up very early on the morning. I contacted her. She was on the phone for an hour and a quarter without them picking up the phone and then to 101 to 104. Absolutely.
So I was advised some while ago is that the best one to use is the police's Facebook 101. I used that once before and you get a response really quick.
That's
Oh, that's about 20 minutes. Yeah, good.
It's quite a handy little one and all that one. Right, next, Emily. No,
Derek, I just got one time.
So there was an update from Visit Hexham that they will let the HCP board know that Visit Hexham know the Visit Hexham CIC and know they're no longer able to take Visit Hexham any further. They'll keep running the website and responding to queries voluntarily until the board gives further instructions. Consequently, they won't put in a grant for consideration to HTC.
So that's obviously a number of us were at which meeting was it? Which meeting was it? Community engagement meeting where there was a proposal put by Visit Hexham to go forward and create a company and do various things with Visit Hexham. It's basically they've now rescinded that thought and I'm not going to put an application in. Hence, Discover Hexham becomes an option which will be brought to the town council next month. Right, so that's the end of that. Mike, you do want to say
Just some correspondence that all councillors will got from Sue Roberts, which is regarding the People's National Emergency Briefing Film, which is on Wednesday the 10th of this week. All councillors were invited. It's well worth going. It's not been shown on the internet. It's private screening only. It brings together, I think, 10 different professors who spent 20-30 years in the field on climate science, food security, health, economics and national security and nature. It presents a clear and measured overview of how the climate and nature crisis is affecting everyday life in Britain. And from all the testimonials that I've seen from people that have watched it, they've said it's really good and it kind of gives you all the background and then some sort of actions that we can take from it. So it's well worth coming along and it's free. You just need to go online onto the email link, see me afterwards if you haven't got it.
Right, so are we going into closed session? Is that the great rate or next on the TV?